function. So the basic function of the respiratory system is to exchange gases between blood, air and tissues. Okay, so the main gases which are involved is the oxygen and carbon dioxide. So before that, what is respiration? Okay, so now this respiration is a biochemical process in which the food is oxidized and the oxygen is utilized in the process and releasing out carbon dioxide. Okay, it is exhaled out. Okay, now in terms of respiration, there are two types of respiration. One is aerobic respiration. Okay, in aerobic respiration, it is in presence of oxygen. Okay, oxygen is involved. Now it releases 38 ATP molecule. Okay, in glycolysis. Now the second one is anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, it is without the presence of oxygen. Without the presence of oxygen, it releases 2 ATP only. Okay, 2 ATP. Here you can see in aerobic it is 38 ATP and here you have 2 ATP. Okay. Now it also releases lactic acid. Okay, so now we can see respiration. So respiration is mainly the process in which the food is oxidized with the help of oxygen and releasing out carbon dioxide as the byproduct. Okay, now what does respiratory system consist of? Now the respiratory system consists of the nose, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi and lungs. We'll see one by one that what are the structure. So if we see first the nose. Okay, so now this nose is the visible part which is protruding outwards from the face. Okay, now this nose have two openings. Okay, two openings. Now these openings are called as nostrils. Okay, now these nostrils have certain cells, those are known as goblet cells. Okay, goblet cells. Now the main function of the goblet cells is to produce mucus. Okay, now why this mucus is produced? The main function of the production of the mucus by the goblet cells are first one, it prevents all the dust particles from entering to the lungs. Second, it also prevent many unwanted particles. Okay, let's say insect or any other unwanted particles to enter to the lungs. Okay, so this is all about the nose. Now this nostrils later on open into a cavity. Okay, open into a cavity. Now this cavity is known as nasal cavity. Okay, nasal cavity. Here you can see like this is the nose. This is the nose. Here the cavity is there. Okay, this cavity is known as nasal cavity. Okay, now then first is nose, then second comes nasal cavity, then third comes pharynx. Okay, then third comes pharynx. Like you can see, here is the pharynx. So basically if you ask the location, what's the location? So the location is the throat area. Okay, it's present in the throat area. Then it is extended to larynx. Okay, now the larynx is also known as the voice box. Okay, voice box. After the age of puberty, in the larynx area, Adam's apple is developed. Okay, Adam's apple is developed. So basically, this Adam's apple, when it's developed, the voice become deeper in case of male. So basically, this Adam's apple develops in case of male after puberty. Okay, this results in the prominent voice, developing the voice structure or modulation. Okay. Then after larynx, okay, so now what happened, we'll see how this works. Okay, how this larynx works in process of respiration. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so what happened in terms of larynx or the voice box? In terms of larynx, what happened during inhalation, when we inhale the gas, the vocal cords are released and the glottis become white. Okay, so now the glottis which is present, it becomes white. Now during exhalation, when we exhale out, the contraction occur and the glottis get narrow, and it becomes narrower. Okay, now during swallowing, what happened when we swallow food, the epiglottis closes to prevent the entry of the food to the glottis. Now you can see this epiglottis. This epiglottis closes this part. Okay, closes this part so that the food do not enter the windpipe. Okay, it has to go through esophagus. Okay, so to prevent this problem, the epiglottis closes the glottis. Okay, once you gulp the food, once the food is gone, then again this epiglottis is removed from the glottis, and then the air can pass through it. So this is all about larynx. Okay, then next one is your trachea. Okay, you can see here, this is the trachea structure. Now this trachea is mainly called as the windpipe. Okay, because here only through this only the gases exchange takes place, or through trachea only the gases enters to the lungs. Okay, now mainly this structure, this trachea structure is about 10 to 11 centimeter long. Okay, and this structure are mainly C-shaped. Now you can see this structure, these are C-shaped structure. Okay, these rings, they have these rings which are C-shaped rings. Okay, now there are around 16 to 20 such rings. Okay, and these are made of cartilages. Okay, now then coming to then that now this trachea is extended to bronchus. Okay, here you can see bronchus. This is a trachea is extended to bronchus. Okay, now this trachea divides into two further parts, that is the left bronchi. Here you can see the left bronchi, and then this is the right bronchi. Okay, now the left bronchi is somewhat narrower than the right. Okay, and slightly horizontal than in comparison to the right. Okay, so so this is the right, and this is right, and this is left. Okay, as you can see, this is bit more narrower. Okay, this is bit more narrower and bit more horizontal. Okay, now the right portion, what happens, the right portion is more wider and shorter. You can see this is short and this is long. Okay, this is a bit shorter than the left bronchi. Okay, so the length is around you can say the right one is around 2.5 centimeter long. Okay, now this bronchi, this right bronchi is further divided into three branches, that is the bronchioles. Okay. First is okay, so before that, when it divides, then it divides to first primary bronchi. First is primary bronchi. Second, you have secondary bronchi. Then third, you have tertiary bronchi. Okay. Now these bronchi further develops, further extends into this bronchi further extends into primary, secondary, and tertiary. Okay. Now when we see the bronchioles, here you can see the bronchiole structure. Now this after from primary to secondary and then secondary to tertiary, now this tertiary bronchi is extended to bronchioles. Okay, it is extended into bronchioles. Okay, now this bronchioles then further extends to terminal bronchiole. Okay, then is respiratory bronchiole, then finally it give rise to alveolar duct. This alveolar duct, okay, so this is the alveolar duct. Okay, now this alveolar duct then give rise to alveolar sac. Okay, this is alveolar sac. Okay, this is sac like structure, this is alveolar sac. Now this alveolar sac contains several small structure, circular structure, that is called as alveoli. Okay, now mainly you have around 150 million alveoli. 150 million alveoli in normal adult lungs. Okay. Now, this alveoli is the main structure where the gases exchange take place. Okay, the oxygen is taken and the carbon dioxide is released through blood. In circulatory system, we know that the deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs and then it is it is purified and then oxygenated blood comes. So basically here in this alveoli only the blood vessels are wrapped around in the alveoli and the gases exchange take place and then the blood carries the certain gases, carries the oxygen and gives out the carbon dioxide. Okay. So next we'll see that the pathway of the air into the body. So like we read all the structures, similarly first the air will enter through the nose and then go to the nasal cavity, then it will enter to the pharynx, then it will go to the larynx which contains the vocal box and it should be open, the glottis should be open, the epiglottis should not be covering the glottis. Then the air goes to trachea, that is the windpipe, then to bronchi, then you have primary, secondary and tertiary bronchi, then finally to the lungs. Now this lungs contain alveoli which are grape-like structure and these are moist, these alveoli are moist and O2, the oxygen is diffused in. Okay, oxygen is diffused in from the air and carbon dioxide is diffused out. Okay. So alveoli, as we read, 150 million in each lungs. That is the main site of gases exchange. Okay. So see, the main site of gases exchange is lungs. Okay. So in lungs only gases exchange takes place. Now in lungs, what is the prominent location where the gases exchange takes place is the alveoli. Okay, now each alveoli, see this, you can see these small structures, this small grape-like structure. Now this each grape-like structure, this circular ball-like structure is surrounded by capillaries, okay, blood capillaries, and through this blood capillaries only the filtration or the purification of the blood occurs, or the gases exchange occurs. Okay, then what is breathing? Okay, so in the process of the mechanism of respiration involves this breathing. Okay, now the lungs are basically sealed in a air tight sac. Okay, so there is this, see, you can see these are the lungs. Now below the lungs there is this muscle. Okay, there is this muscle. This muscle is known as diaphragm. Okay, this is a smooth muscle located beneath the lungs only. Okay, now when this expands, okay, now when this expands, the pressure is created. Okay, when the pressure is created, the air gushes into the lungs. Okay, and when it contracts, then in lungs high pressure is created, and which helps the air to gush out of the body, forces the air to go out of the body. So you can see, like like this structure. Okay, when it is expanding, okay, so when it is coming down, then the volume of the lungs is increasing. When the volume increases, automatically the pressure decreases. Once the pressure inside this is decreasing and outside the pressure is high, then the pressure will try to equalize. That's why it will gush into the lungs. Okay, now when it is contracting, means it is going upwards, then the air which the volume decreases. Okay, the volume decreases and the pressure increases. That's why it has to go out of the lungs. Okay, so this is how the mechanism of breathing actually works. Okay, and in this entire process, in this fraction of seconds, in the alveoli, such exchange also takes place. Okay, now tobacco and respiratory system. Okay, so what are the effects of the tobacco in the respiratory system? Now nicotine and carbon monoxide paralyze cilia. Okay, so now what happens, this carbon monoxide has a very good affinity with the hemoglobin. Okay, once it get attached to hemoglobin, it is a irreversible reaction, and it forms then and the compound which is formed is irreversible. Now when this irreversible compound is formed, then most of the hemoglobin structures are blocked. Once the hemoglobin structures are blocked, then there won't be much hemoglobin available for the transfer of the oxygen or the carbon dioxide. Okay, so this can lead to carbon monoxide poisoning, and the person can die. Okay, so and okay, now it also paralyzes the cilia. The nicotine also paralyzes the cilia. Now without cilia to sweep it away, mucus becomes trapped in the airway. Okay, and which leads to the coughing of the coughing, or any kind of discomfort, okay, in the lungs. Now the respiratory tracts also swells up, and the air flow to the alveoli is reduced. Okay, once the air flow to alveoli is reduced, it means automatically you will have respiratory problem. Okay, then you can see this is a healthy lung. Okay, and then this is a smoker's lung. Okay, it's completely destroyed. Okay, then diseases. Smoking reduces life expectancy. Okay, now bronchitis is the major disease, okay, that is constricting of the bronchis. Okay, then there is then loss of elasticity of the tissue also occur, okay, of the lungs. Then lung cancer, which can spread to other part of the body. Okay, thank you.